I'm Bev of Bev's Bells, a certified kettlebell instructor, and today I'm going to be showing you the hip hinge movement pattern and some of the do's and don'ts. So the hip hinge is a fundamental movement pattern and building block for the deadlift. We can find the hip hinge in many real life activities. For example, you would be bending over and you're doing some gardening, or maybe some shoveling of snow, or even lifting up a suitcase, hence the suitcase deadlift. So let's just begin from the very top and say that I would recommend highly that you start learning the hip hinge movement pattern with body weight only. Don't add any weight yet. Let the body and the mind figure out the correct posture, the correct timing, the breathing, all that before you even start adding any weight. So to begin with, I would say you would use some props to help you with your alignment and so that you can see what you look like when you're doing the hip hinge for the first few times. So I would recommend something like a dowel, a broomstick, a ski pole, something that's very straight, and you would grab the dowel, making sure that it's touching the back of your head, it's touching in between your shoulder blades, and it's also touching your lower back around where your just where your hips are, that bone there. So then you would learn how to do it properly with alignment. So looking at yourself maybe in the mirror, onto the side, you would start to hinge at the waist. So you'll feel a tightness in your hamstrings. Your bum is coming back first. Your knees are bending slightly at the beginning and then a little bit more, perhaps when you go a little lower. You end up going possibly even as parallel as the floor. And your weight's going to be in your heels. You can even wiggle your toes. And if you get this movement pattern down pat with the dowel, you can take the dowel away and you can continue to do this without any weight so that you see yourself in the mirror again, keeping your neck in line and doing it slowly. Then you add on. So making sure your weight's in the heels, wiggling your toes, shoulders away from the ears, chest is out. Start tapping an object like the kettlebell on the floor and just breathing in to go down, breathing out to come back up. Adding on more, you would want to do a little bit of a hip snot at the top. So breathing in and breathing out, snap the hips. Still using lower body muscles like your glutes, your quads, your hamstrings, and of course your core. Your core is that corset around the middle here mostly, and you want to engage it so you'd feel like maybe you're sucking in your belly button, or if you've given birth, then you would turn on your Kegels and engage those. So that's how you would do it with just body weight, making sure that you have that pattern down pat, and then you can start to add slowly, you can start to add weight. I would recommend a lesser weight, and just making sure that you have low reps, lower weight. And again, now you would grab onto the handle of the kettlebell, nice firm grip, keeping in line your neck, shoulders back. Weights in the heels, wiggling the toes, shoulders away from the ears, chest out. Breathing out at the top, breathing in, slightly tapping the floor. Don't jar. There's no need to pound it into the ground. Just slightly tapping, firm grip. And placing it down carefully using your lower body and not your lower back. So those would be some of those really important pointers that I'd be looking for when I'm teaching. I would highly recommend that you do not try to do the kettlebell swing without first mastering the hip hinge. If you don't know how to hinge, you can't deadlift. If you can't deadlift, you can't do a swing properly. And the swing is like a deadlift on steroids. It's powerful, it's explosive, it's a ballistic movement. And if you have not learned how to recruit the proper muscles, to perform the deadlift, adding this powerful motion into the hip hinge movement in the form of this kettlebell swing is going to be a recipe for disaster. So I would recommend getting the timing down. Practice this with lower weight, like I was saying, and just lower reps and gradually work your way up to the point where you're having higher reps and heavier weight, and then you can learn how to do the kettlebell swing. And there, I do have a video for that as well. If you're interested, I can include the link below. So hopefully this helped you. You can translate this into some activities in daily life, like I was saying, with shoveling or picking up a suitcase, maybe groceries. But practice the hip hinge. Thumb back first, knees slightly bent, because if you're starting to go with your knees down first and out, then you know that that is actually a squat and not a hip hinge. Okay? Definitely not. Two different activities. So great, thank you, and I appreciate your time. Take care.